A Soldier's Diary, 1893 to 1918. The Jerkline driver. And the next morning, we was looking for some wood to cook our breakfast and coffee with. The Jerkline driver shouted, "What in the hell are you looking for now?" Now a fellow said, "Some wood to make a fire with. We have some paper here to light it with proper." "Wood? Hell!" shouted the Jerkline driver. "Get out there and get some of those buffalo chips. Just pick up some buffalo chips." The driver looked at us with our dumb expressions on our face and said, "You boys don't know what they are? Well, I'll damn soon show you what they are. Come over here with me. See this pile of cow shit all dried? Well, up among the Sioux Indians, they call them buffalo chips. The Sioux have buffaloes, but down here, we do not have any buffalo. We have longhorn steer. So we use dried cow shit from a longhorn steer. You would soon find out what a longhorn steer is if one of them ever stuck you in the ass. Now get some of that dried cow shit and go ahead and cook your meal over them," he yells. I must admit, that is the first time I have ever had my breakfast meal cooked over a fire like that. Some of them said, "Well, that is the first time I ever heard of anybody cooking a meal with dried cow shit. But if ever you get out in these sticks, you will do the same thing." You see, the wood here is all mesquite wood, so you can only burn the root of it. Well, second day is going fine. We soon started out after breakfast, when all at once, the driver stopped the schooner. The skinner, that is the driver, yelled, "Take a good look at that big fellow over there coiled up on your right side." We all looked in the direction pointing, but could not see anything. We all looked, but nobody could see nothing. The driver shouted, "So you can't see nothing? Jesus, you men are all blind. Well, just jump off the wagon, and I'll take you over to where you can get a good look at it. Do you see it now? You are a hell of a bunch of men to come down here." "No, God damn it, I cannot see it." He jumped off the wagon with his big black make-a-whip in his hand. He said, "You can't find rocks here." So he told us to be ready to jump if we see anything. Boys, all of a sudden, when he let that big long whip of his cut down and hit a big rattlesnake. We saw the big son bitch. He could go fast as hell and big as a railroad tie. The snake jumped, we jumped, and the driver laughed. If I was to ever have met the devil and he laughed, I know it would sound the same as that Jerkline driver's glee. Boy, he was big, but he brought him down with a six-shooter. Everyone started running around and bumping into one another. The driver took out his pistol and shot the snake. Then he snapped off the Rattles 11. Then he said to me, "You can have the hide. You want it?" Soon as he hit that snake, we all made for the wagon. We all went. By this time, we were all back on the wagon, ready to go. I overheat any way to get in. That was the biggest one so far. We didn't want any hides. We just stayed in the wagon. But the damn thing, you could not see it, because it looked just like a root. But when he socked it, oh boy did it jump. It just stood up almost as tall as a man. Then opened its mouth and hissed and shook its rattles. Well, we was all in the wagon and ready to go before the driver was. He gave the Rattles 11 to me. You know I was just a tenderfoot myself. Then, many times since, I have ridden by a snake and did not know it was there. But your horse knew. Then maybe some of the other fellows would know too. Many a time they would say, "There's a rattle." We just kept on going. The only times we would know one was around was when your horse would snort and shy. Then you would know something was around. Most always, it was a snake. Back to Tenderfeet. Well, we got started off again, checking out all the local folk creeping, crawling, hopping, and slithering along. As we were riding along the trail, the old driver stirred things up when he turned around and said, "Boys, how would you like to wake up and have one of those big rattler fellas coiled up on your blanket on your chest?" Now, how do you think we felt that night? After him telling us about the snake rolled up on one of our blankets. All the way down, we just thought of that. Now, we was not looking for rattlers anymore. We stopped for our second night. Well, in camp, we go out looking for some more cow shit. Sue wood to cook our supper with and settle down for the evening. Needless to say, we were all thinking about what the driver said earlier. One of the fellows was out gathering buffalo chips. He was bent over picking up a nice hard dry flap when another fellow sneaks up on him. We was all looking. He just hollered over to one of the fellows, "Oh boy, here's Dandy." When this fellow grabbed him by the leg, did he drop those cow flaps. This fellow started jumping around and shouting. I say, did he yell, "Oh, son bitch! Oh, son bitch!" He turned around and saw the man who grabbed him and yelled, "If I had a gun, I would shoot you right now." Oh, did we laugh when he dropped those cow flaps. You see, in addition to not getting a second blanket until you got your post, you did not get your weapon either. And that was lucky for one man that night. All you had to do after that to start a fight was just grab a fella by the leg. Just reach over and grab someone when they were not looking. That wasn't bad enough, but the old driver stirred things up again when he started telling us about them crawling up on your blanket. He said, "Boys, if a snake crawls up on your blanket during the night, don't hit him. They won't hurt you. Just let them lay there till morning light. When it gets daylight, he will crawl off and leave you." Somebody shouted, "You old crazy son of a bitch! Do you think for 1 minute I'm gonna lay there all night with a snake on my chest? Lay there, alongside of one of those things we saw yesterday? Till daylight and wait for him to slither away? You ought to seen this yellow one of those slow, easy-go fellows." Well, supper was over. Then we all sat around telling stories. Like hell. The only story we told was thinking about was them damn big snakes. One fellow said to the other, "Say, Tommy, what would you do if you woke up and found one of those on your blanket?" "Well, what would you do?" asked the driver. "Well, I would get up nice and easy and sock him." "With what?" asked another fellow. "Or with something," Tommy said. One man shouted, "I would pick up a brick or a piece of lumber and hit the snake." Well, I thought to myself, well, that makes a lot of sense. You know they ain't got no lumber yard around here, or brick yards. The nearest yard is probably 30 or 40 miles away from here. So I guess you would have to keep going. Oh, boys. You know, out here is nothing but sand, rocks, and mesquite wood. Like I said before, the mesquite is no good for burning. As you had to dig out the root, you know that is the only part that will burn. One of the fellows hollowed over to the old Skinner. "Driver, you were so damn smart. What would you do if you woke up with a snake curled up on your chest?" The old Skinner hollowed over, looked around at all of us real slow-like and said, well, I would just reach down and grab him, get a hold of him, break him in two, and bite off his head. I knew that driver was a rough customer when I first saw him, and I believe he could have done just that. The night started coming in, and the wind started kicking up a little bit. So we decided to turn in for the night. Well, everybody was getting ready to flop. One fellow would come up to you and say to the other, "Who are you going to flop with?" You know to sleep together when you're out in the field. Each have a blanket, so now you got one blanket under you and one on top of you. Just imagine these fellows after seeing these snakes and knowing there are plenty of them here, and them centipedes, and scorpions, and tarantulas, and horned toads, and whatnot, and all us tenderfoot. We talked all night till 3 a.m. You know, there's a lot of sagebrush here. You can feel the small branches poking you through the blanket. I bet they shit theirself. I was just the same as they was. We was all half asleep, and everything was finally quieted. The wind started blowing all the tumbleweeds around. When all at once, one man jumped up, started running around and hollering. "Son of a bitch! Oh, son of a bitch! Snakes got me! Snakes got me!" As far as he could say it. Seems the wind blew his blanket up around him, and some of the tumbleweeds hit his blanket. He thought it was a snake. He had us all very scared now. I'm quite sure there was a few fellows who thought as I did. If I had a pistol, I would shoot that son of a bitch for waking me up and getting me all worried again. Now I'm laying there, thinking about snakes, lizards, horned toads, and everything else I had seen on the way down. Oh, if I had a gun. You see, we had no guns yet, for we was not assigned to any troop yet. One of the men named Tommy shouted at the driver, "Driver, you are the cause of all this. You just got the shit scared out of us. You have us all scared to death with your talk about how they crawl up on your blanket. I wish I was the hell out with this damn old army." Now the whole damn camp was up. Honest, we was all thinking about the same thing. All scared about if a snake will crawl up on your blanket. The old driver just laughed and said, "Didn't you want to be a Wild West boy? You ought to be home with your mother, sucking on a bottle." Well, we pulled through the night, but it was a long one. The next morning was the same old thing. Buffalo chip roundup, cooked breakfast. Breakfast was very quieted. Hardly anyone said much. For it was a good thing. We all remembered it does not take much to start a fight. Well, breakfast was over, loaded the wagon, and off we went for our future home. Yes, sir. Camp J.D. Man down on the Rio Grande. On the way down, we only saw 2 snakes. Hardly anyone said a word on the trail. Guess we were wrapped up in our own thoughts. Oh, that Skinner was tough.